take responsibility. Message to all members of the United Federation of Planets. Hello, and I welcome you once again. Thank you for coming in to listen to me. Za'el here. I would like to remind you this time, just like Marie, that you can take these videos as science fiction or entertainment if you wish, just as you can take them seriously at your own risk. Listen and decide. As people, we make mistakes, and often those mistakes translate into contradictions. But once we have fallen into those contradictions or mistakes, what really defines who or what kind of person you are is how you will act in the face of them, however big those mistakes may have been. Will you refuse to see the reality of having made a mistake, or will you be able to face it? Knowing that this was not the way or the answer to go, having realized it, will you continue to run away from it, doing the same thing and therefore making things worse? Or, on the contrary, will you accept your mistake, however big it may have been, and change what is necessary to make things right, taking the helm with courage and determination? The situation of the United Federation of Planets is complicated and complex. Just think for a moment about the immense variety of types of people that exist there on Earth. How many people are aware of what that planet is, and how many are unaware? How many people are deceived there by their governments and their propaganda, and how many have opened their eyes to that? How many have opened their eyes to some things, and how many have opened their eyes to others? How many can be masters of something, and pupils in nappies in so many other things? And within each of those various groups, how many big-hearted people are there, and how many bad-hearted people as well? How many good people who, under the deception of others and also under the deception of themselves, act regressively? How many regressive people who act in a good way on certain occasions, especially to gain someone's trust and move towards their goals? And above all, how many people go forward with the flow because they don't want to face the difficulty of holding the rudder? They don't want to face up to the question of whether the world is as it should be or not, and delegate the power of action to those who have the courage and determination to question it and do something about it. Or rather, to those who claim to want the general welfare, which is not always true. In fact, it is usually the other way around. Those who govern are well aware of human nature and its general tendency to delegate their power of action and decision, relying on the goodwill of those who offer to do so. In this way, they take advantage of that nature to abuse them as much as they wish, always under the pretext that it is for the protection of the weak, of minorities, of the majority, of a country, of the planet, of the white bunnies, of the grey buffaloes, or of the blue dolphins. It is always, I open inverted commas, for a totally innocent good reason. I close inverted commas. Often, those who do not have the courage and determination to take the helm and think outside the mainstream, because they do not want to face such a cruel reality, repeat like mantras these general ideas and justifications for themselves, and for those who dare to question the actions of those who exercise them. We could summarize the situation in one simple sentence. Evil acts without rules, and abuses the honor, respect, and trust of those who want to do good. And then they will come along with little gifts to cajole you and make you feel bad for distrusting them. Be wise, because the real evil and the most dangerous knows how to dress like a lamb. But I have started the video by mentioning the United Federation of Planets for one reason, and that is that absolutely everything said in this video applies to them as well. To all of us. I recommend listening to it again from the beginning. Having lived down there, and also observing what happens above, I can come to the firm conclusion that it is no longer even a question of as below so above as a reflection of each other, though of course that is also true. I see it rather as one and the same problem, a whole. Of course, as Marie read in her recent video, one has to keep in mind that souls incarnate from a certain point of view, under their own responsibility and decision. But I myself, and surely every single one of the millions of us here, know that things are not as simple as taking into account the point of view of one or a few densities above all others. That there are really no densities as such. We know that one being should not be prioritized or given greater importance over another, even if it is actually the same being in different expressions of itself. And ultimately, moreover, we also all know very well, or so we say, that we are all really the same. The same being, the same person, or the same consciousness in different phases of itself. Therefore, and if expansion and learning is really what we seek, perhaps it is time to stop torturing and punishing ourselves. Perhaps learning is precisely to stop hurting oneself. And since it is sometimes difficult not to fall into that because of emotional blows and things we don't want in our lives, at least we, as the versions with the power to change the lives we live down there, could take responsibility for ourselves and stop consciously and deliberately hurting ourselves. That is why it is important that the side of good, if you want to call it that, takes the bull by the horns precisely, takes control of its mind and actions, and sets out on its own. Without delegations of power, action, or thought. You too have the invaluable ability to reason and come to valid conclusions. You are no less than those who meet behind closed doors, because it is closed no matter what they say, to decide for you. Earth's politicians, as the abusers and controllers that they are, disguise their actions with words and concepts that sound like honey candy dumplings, and people then go on to defend it as such. But that doesn't change the fact that those concepts are actually a big ball of dung. You can say that something is open and transparent to everyone, but if it isn't when it comes down to it, the reality is what it is. You can say that humans are in control of their lives and that they choose to follow the path they follow, but if they are misled and guided to go in a certain direction and those who go in the opposite direction are censored, the reality is what it is. Then, words are carried away by the wind. And it is words that an abuser uses to disguise his actions. It is words that the cabal uses to paint pink what is black. And it is words that the Federation's top officials use to paint pink what is black. Oh well, I said the same thing as for the cabal. With all this, I would like to insist on what is really important in this message. You, who are listening to me, whether you are living on Earth or off Earth. It doesn't matter if you have made a mistake. It doesn't matter if you've been doing something that might not be right for a few days, a year, or 20 centuries. What matters is what you are going to do from now on. Who do you want to be? Do you want to be someone who has no power of decision or thought, who is handled at will? Do you want to be someone who doesn't evolve? Someone who keeps hurting themselves or allowing others to hurt them? Are you going to look the other way? Are you going to run away? Are you going to keep wondering what someone like you can do? Have you forgotten who you are and the power you have? You are the chosen one in your story, the one who will change things. Time passes while you decide, and evil does not rest, nor does it follow rules. If the answer is complicated, let's face it and think as complicated as it is, and come to the solution. Against the unjust. Za'el of error.